The way to help change this automatic unconscious coping skill of his is for the unconscious part of his brain to gain proof that he's safe. All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Live Support with Odille for changing negative implicit childhood memories using the Remmert Method. We've created this forum for those who've watched our YouTube videos or read our book and need personal help with using the techniques to get changes, but aren't in a position to do one-to-one sessions. If you're new to the Remmert Method, be sure to check out the links in the description of this post. And if you'd like to submit a question or you'd like me to take you through the process of changing memories in this forum, check the link in the description of this video for details on that as well. First up today, I've got a question from Raquel. Raquel asks, I've been having a hard time with my son's OCD behavior. He is constantly verbally vomiting out all his concerns and confessions to me. It's like he needs to make sure he expresses every little detail of what he does, almost like he's confessing and needing constant reassurance. For example, when he walks into the room, he says, I think I might have stepped on your computer cord, okay? And the spoon I just used touched the counter, and is it okay if it touched my mouth? And when I was done using the bathroom, I washed my hands, but I think I washed them too quickly, so I don't know if all the germs came off. Is that okay? And the hand I used to wipe myself in the bathroom is the same hand I'm using when I'm on your phone, but I washed it, so that's okay, right? Or should I wash it again? Do you think the germs are still there? You told me to get off your phone in 10 minutes, but I think I went over and it was on for 11 minutes, okay? Or if he accidentally hurt me by stepping on my foot, he'll apologize and then say, I don't know, though, if I meant to do it on purpose. Did I? Because I think I knew you were standing there, so maybe I stepped on your foot on purpose. Oh my gosh, Odille, it's so much. I feel so bad because I don't have the patience and will sometimes ignore him just so I don't blow up, which has created a new issue of him always asking, did you hear me? My husband also doesn't have much patience. My son probably has 6 to 7 episodes of this daily. I tried practicing what you've suggested and given him assurance and stayed calm, but my patience didn't last too long. And I feel so guilty each time I don't meet his needs of reassurance and unconditional love. How do you suggest I handle this? So first of all, well done for reaching out for help with this, Raquel, and for practicing the previous suggestions. The thing that stood out to me mostly as I was reading through what you've been describing your son, the type of things he says is a kind of mirror image of your health anxiety. You've probably picked that up as well, that he's pretty much doing what you were doing with your health anxiety. So he's learned how to survive in that way. So it's important to know and to remind yourself that, first of all, that the way you feel when you experience this with your son is not about him and it's not about his behavior. So those automatic reactions and the lack of patience and feeling that if you don't ignore it, you'll blow up, all of that, none of it is actually about him or his behaviors. It's the unconscious part of your brain's response to what you're hearing and seeing based on your own unconscious childhood references. You are experiencing his behavior without your conscious knowledge. The unconscious part of your brain is referring to something in your childhood or a lot of things in your childhood, and then pumping stress chemicals into your system. And then you are experiencing the irritation or the impatience or the kind of thing, and it appears to be coming from your experience of him. His behavior means something to the unconscious part of your brain, and it's reacting to that meaning. So answering the conscious mind first using logic, of course, as I said, your son has learned by growing up, experiencing your own coping skills and anxiety, that extreme anxiety you had, that's the way to survive. that that's the only way to stay safe. And the problem with our automatic coping skills is that they're unconscious. So he can't change his behavior consciously, no matter how much he may want to or try to. So knowing this can help to consciously remind yourself that every time he asks you those questions or tells you extraneous things, it's automatic, unconscious, and he can't help it. He's not making a conscious choice in that moment to do it. The way to help change this automatic unconscious coping skill of his is for the unconscious part of his brain to gain proof that he's safe. And of course, as we know, the unconscious part of the brain doesn't use logic or reason. So knowing that he's physically safe is not enough. That's the conscious mind. So to that unconscious part of the brain, being safe means that the adults around you are safe and happy and loving and kind and patient and calm and relaxed. But because the stress and anxiety has been around him for all his life so far, that conditioning, of course, is very ingrained, and it's extra strong because it's connected to the survival state. So it'll take some time to change. So the answer is to change your own childhood references so that you are automatically, unconsciously calm, relaxed, patient, and happy inside yourself, regardless of his coping skills. And the way to get to that, because just as he can't help his behaviors, you can't help those automatic reactions either, because they're also unconscious. So the way to get to that, of course, is making sure that the child in you has proof in the form of new implicit childhood memories that she is always safe and loved. So memories of your own parents being calm, loving, physically affectionate, relaxed, kind, they're safe, they're fun, compassionate, supportive, and so on. So you can use the bookmark memories for guidance in this, if you like, and I'll put a link to the bookmark memories in the description of this video for those who need it. And make sure that your new childhood is your top priority, because that is what will change you enough to allow your son's brain to relax and no longer need those coping skills, which will then automatically result in different behavior. But it can take time because, like I said, it's survival. Change the negative memories, create new ones, and practice those until they're really established. So what you're aiming for is an entire new childhood. So your whole childhood was amazing, so that when you think of your childhood, you feel this warm, safe, wonderful feeling. That's what you're aiming for. And amp up those good feelings as much as possible, because that's what's going to make those establish those new memories. And then whenever you find yourself feeling anything negative in response to your son's behaviors, immediately recognize that that's the child in you feeling those feelings, and immediately play a new childhood memory of your parents giving you love, attention, affection, reassurance, patience, compassion, support, and anything else that child in you needs. So I hope that helps, but let me know if you need any more suggestions. All right. And next up is Camilla. Hi, Camilla.
Hi,
Hey, how are you today?
I'm sad. So I'm okay, but I'm sad.
Okay.
Basically, my grandma, she is not okay. I think she's
Okay.
dying actually.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry.
yeah, thank you. She was okay like a month ago, and then she had like a huge like decline,
Oh,
and now she's in the hospital. She was already having problems, but now she's literally like staring at the wall. So she doesn't listen, she can't talk. And it's like, wow, like, and it's really hard because I
yeah.
realized this week, like, wow, she's like dying. Even if she
Mhm.
goes home, this is like the end for her. Even if she lasts like more time, she's like, she's literally dying. I don't know. I think it's so sad because I can't imagine like my life without her, because she was like the only person that made me feel as a child loved and appreciated, and she made me feel really confident. yeah, I feel really sad.
Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I know I can imagine how difficult that is. So what we want to end up with, first of all, it is, of course, it is sad. So, and it's normal and human to feel those feelings. You know, we don't want to judge those feelings, or it's not necessary to feel like you shouldn't be feeling them or anything like that. But in addition to that, we want to help you to change your focus and change your perception so that it makes it easier on you, and so that it's affecting you and your grandmother in, you know, as a result, in a more positive way. One of the things to remember, so answering the conscious mind first, is that your grandmother's time, you know, it seems is coming to an end now. Asking yourself, what does dying mean to you? Let's start there. So what is the fact that she's dying, or that someone is dying? What does that mean to you?
I think it's all good for her because she's
Mhm.
going to like another like a stage of like her journey. I don't think that like death is the end, so it's all
Okay.
good for her. I think she's going
Good.
to meet like my grandpa, all the people who she cares about. It's more for me,
Yes,
because I'm here.
that's
I
right.
can go with her.
That's it. Yeah. So that's good that you're able to see that it's a good thing for her, and keep thinking of that, because when we're happy for someone else and we're great for someone else's experiences, it helps to produce, lower stress chemicals, produce feel good chemicals, and change the context of it. I know when my mum died, I did a similar thing. I imagined, I thought, oh, well, she's going to see her parents and her sister and, all of that. And I kept thinking of that, thinking, oh, but it's so nice for her. And one of the things I was grateful for was that it wasn't like a violent end or anything like that. I kept being grateful for the things. And I thought, well, she wasn't around for COVID, which would have been that kind of thing can help. Now, the main frame of this experience for you, from what I can make out, is the fact that your grandmother was the only one that you felt loved by in your childhood. Is that right?
Yes.
That's going to be adding a whole aspect, a whole extra level to the loss. And so your conscious mind knows that, but you've created new childhood memories with your parents, haven't you?
Yes.
Every time that thought comes to you of the only person who actually loved me as a child, or who showed me love as a child, I'm now going to lose them, correct that in the moment, right? Correct it in the moment and go, number one, I'm grateful for her, grateful for the time I had with her. And number two, play the new childhood memories of your parents so that you're not allowing that the unconscious part of your brain and the child in you to believe that they didn't love you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good, good. And how would it feel to be able to do that?
I know that that's always there.
Mhm.
It's going to make me feel better.
Yeah.
But sometimes I find that like difficult to like replay the new memories, that like I have to like push to do that, like
Mhm.
make a hard effort, while with
Okay.
my grandma is like really easy.
Yeah, yeah. Then there may be a couple of reasons for that. There may be other memories that need to be changed, or it may be that your conscious mind is interfering. In other words, I know that you are dealing with your parents in real time, so that may be interfering with the new childhood memories. Or
Mhm.
it may feel like you're going to lose something if you change your parents completely.
Yeah.
So let's start there. Let's say we could wave a magic wand so that your parents, we could go back in time and change it all for real, so that your parents weren't the way they were and they were absolutely amazing. They were like your grandmother. What would be wrong with that?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you feel like there would be anything wrong with it, or is it just that you can't think of what would be wrong with it? Or is it a case of, yeah, I can't think that there wouldn't be anything wrong with it?
I'm not sure. Like when I thought about what you said, I felt good. Like, oh yes, like this feels really good.
Huh?
But I feel like my mind or my brain doesn't want to let go. Like my mind is like okay with the situation, even though I am not. It's like
Yeah.
familiar, it feels good, it feels like love.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering if that was the case. Let's take one parent at a time. Let's go for your dad first. So if your dad was relaxed and amazing and confident and fun and all of the things you would have liked him to have been when you were a child, and that your relationship with him was very similar to your relationship with your grandmother, what would that have been like? How would you feel now if that was the case?
My dad is easier for sure. So I feel more now that I'm playing that, I feel like confidence. Like I'm
Good.
protected. I have that like confidence.
Very good. Yes. I figured your dad would be easier. That's why I wanted to start with him. Practice that. Okay. So that's one thing to do. Now let's go to your mum. Imagine the same with your mum and see what happens inside you, what thoughts and feelings come up.
My mom is harder. I don't know why. I have a lot of new memories of her, but there's always something there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you think of your mum, what's the first thing that pops into your mind?
Anger.
Anger. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking you may need to do a due justice letter for your mum.
Yeah.
And I know you may have done one in the past, but sometimes we need to do more than one.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really angry at her in general.
Yeah. So do the due justice technique. For everybody watching, I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. Do the due justice letter to your mum, then see if you're able to imagine her the same as you did with your dad. And notice what happens again. So it's checking each piece of the machine to see where the squeak is or where the sticky bit is, and then we can address it. So doing that first, then seeing if you can imagine your mum. And if you can't, again, notice what happens when you try. And then you'll know, okay, so this is what's coming up. And if you can't really sort of figure it out, just ask yourself, okay, so as I think of my mum, what's the first thing that pops into my head? So like now it was anger. After you've done the due justice, it may be something different.
Yes.
And then you'll know what next to address. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's go back to your grandmother. And what's your favorite memory of your grandmother?
I have so many.
What's the first one you think of?
Like traveling with her, being in Ibiza with her, and eating like breakfast, not lunch, breakfast in the morning, near to the pool, and being there with her, talking about what we are going to do later, things that we want to buy. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so I want you to take that scene now, having breakfast together, talking about all the things you're going to do and all of that, and create that as a kind of touchstone. Okay, so just keep playing that over and over with all the good feelings so that you're creating feelings of appreciation and love and connection. And the thing to remember is that as you do that, even though your conscious mind knows you're just imagining it, the unconscious part of your brain, as long as you allow it, will believe you are experiencing that right now.
Yes.
Okay, it'll create the same feelings. And the more you do that over and over, the easier it's going to get to be able to feel love and appreciation in place of loss and pain. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm scared of losing the qualities that she has. So I always wanted to be like her.
Yeah.
As long as I have her like in front of me, it's easier to be that to like do the things that she does and think how she thinks.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to lose that. Even if I try to remember, I'm not going to be able to remember how to be like her.
Okay. Very good point, sweetheart. That's a really good point. How about getting a journal, some kind of journal or book, or it could be on the computer, but it's nice if it's a physical thing, and write down all the qualities you love and appreciate about your grandmother and that you want to make sure that you remember and you keep, so that you've got this book that contains all of those pieces, and you can do little pictures or photos, or you can make it nice so that you can always refer to it as a reminder. How would that feel?
Yeah, that it's like a really good idea. I will do that, I'm sure.
Good. Very good. And it can be a combination of a tribute to her, an expression of your appreciation for her, and a reminder of what she's given to you that you want to make sure that you keep, like those qualities.
Yes, that's pretty cool.
Sound good? Good. Very good. So what you're aiming for is that whenever and you can do this now, I mean, make the most of her still being here as well. Because, when someone is dying, we tend to jump to the end result as if they've already gone, right? And that's natural. That's the brain focusing on the danger. So rather than that, treat it as I'm going to make the most of this time that we do have, whatever that may be. So even if it's just thinking of her with love, and imagine sending love and light to her exactly as she is, and really focus on the love and appreciation to replace the fear or the loss or the grief or the pain. Sound good?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. So how do you feel now?
I feel better as every time I speak with you.
Good, good. And also the other thing I wanted to say is think of the little you, the child inside you, and make sure that you're reassuring that part of you. So whenever you think of your grandmother and that, remind that child in you, go, it's okay, and play the wonderful memory of your grandmother with breakfast and all of that.
Yeah, okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good. Thank you so much for helping.
You're so very welcome, sweetheart. Well done for reaching out for help. Sending you lots of love.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And next up is Swasti. Hi, Swasti.
Hi.
Hey, there you are. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. I want to say I'm going to be sending love to Camilla. Okay, so I was going to say that my situation last week, like what you helped me with, like the exam thing, like I had such a doable week, I was so stressed that time, and then I was like, it will only be good or nothing to worry about. So when I could, I was sending love to it. And so what happens is actually it did kind of like, it is turning out good, because I realized that it's only supplementing my own knowledge, which is a realization that, my mum did tell me that on the day of the result. She's like, it's only you in the future. It's only going to benefit people in the future, like patients and stuff. But in the moment I was like, no, like I have to study through summer. I hate it. And then also I realized that, so this guy who's going to Australia that I was talking about before, like he's going in like February, but I was like, I'm never going to see you again. But now, because I have to go back to Liverpool, I will be seeing him again. So I was like, well, look, bonuses.
There you go. If you hadn't had to resit the exam, you wouldn't have seen him again.
Yeah. So I was like,
fantastic. Good job, you. And it's interesting because, of course, your brain couldn't see that before while you were stressed about it.
Yeah.
So it's only once the stress chemicals come down and we start to see things differently that we go, oh yeah, well, there's that, and there's a positive option. Piece to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay, good job, you.
Thank you. Okay, so I've been feeling a lot of time like dissociated the past couple of days, and that's because I'm at home right now. So it's like being triggered like every 3 hours, and then trying to come out of it, and then trying to change it. But it's like it takes so much emotional energy out of me. So I realized the main thing is just my dad, because I feel like as soon as I walk into a room, I'm almost a trigger to him. So something in him is constantly being triggered. It seems to me that he just hates me, but actually he's being triggered by me. And I think I know what's going on, because I think it's my auntie who was like, so the whole exam situation and stuff, because the whole education and marriage thing, and surviving on your own, all of that, that's what he doesn't want for me. Like he wants me to just succeed and do well, but then it comes out as like verbal abuse. So I just need a bit of help with that.
All right, very good. When you say you're being triggered every 3 hours, what form does that trigger take? How do you know you're being triggered?
So literally as soon as I walk into a room, I get like a lecture, and it's so random and unexpected, but it's always the same speech.
Okay, very good.
So, and then I just get really like just really anxious about it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, so, and what does it mean to you? So you walk into a room and you get this random lecture, and what does it mean to you? How is your brain interpreting that?
It's like kind of like unreasonable kind of speech. So because it's like, oh, by your age, I was married and I was like providing for my family. But I was like, that's not my situation.
Yeah. Okay. And have you ever come across a person, and sometimes these, sometimes it's older people who don't have people to talk to and that kind of thing. Have you ever been in a situation, perhaps at a bus stop or somewhere, where a stranger starts telling you stuff that you don't have a reference for it, or they're just kind of sharing things with you, random things about their life?
Yeah.
Right. So what if that's all your dad is doing? And I don't mean that is his intention. I mean, what if you decide that's what he's doing?
Yeah, so that's what's been helping. I'm just pretending like, oh, he has like Alzheimer's or something. I mean, that's not nice to think about, but like, yeah.
He's a lonely person who hasn't had anybody to talk to, and he's just sharing stuff. So when he says things to you, like, because as he says to you, by your age, I was already doing whatever he was doing, your brain is recognizing that as criticism, and the meaning is that you're doing something wrong. You should be doing something different, as opposed to, by your age, I was doing this, that, and the other, and you going, oh, that's nice. Yeah. Taking it completely at face value. That he's just telling you that that's what he did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And only if he says, so why aren't you doing that? You don't need to answer, unless he says that. You just go, oh, that's nice. But if he then does say to you, so how come you're not doing it, or you should be doing it, or something like that, then you can answer factually and just say, yeah, of course, my circumstances are different. And that's it.
Yeah.
So that you're not kind of feeling backed into a corner and you have to, defend yourself, or you're being criticized and judged. It's just, this person is just telling you, I had sausages for breakfast.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I think that's where I'm struggling to get to, because it's offensive.
Ah, very good. Now, the idea of something being offensive means you have to know that it's offensive. And you have to have some kind of reference for that, because otherwise you wouldn't. So, for example, if he was saying what he was saying in a language you didn't understand, you wouldn't know if it was offensive or not.
Yeah.
Right. And to someone, so if I was in the room and your father said that same thing to me when I was your age, I was there, I wouldn't have a reference for it being offensive. I would just go, oh yeah, okay. I wouldn't, because I don't have the history with him. But because you have the history with him, that's actually how you know it's offensive. So as he's saying it, your brain is referring to all of those other times where you learn this is what he actually means.
Okay.
So it makes sense that you're responding that way, because your brain has proof that that's what he means. Your brain has proof that he's judging or, whatever it is. And knowing that and respecting that, now your conscious mind, you can consciously change that. So you can take control now and go, okay, so that was the case. And now I am the boss of me and I get to decide what he means. So having that attitude, so in other words, you're not changing it because you should change it or because you have to change it or this kind of struggle thing. The attitude you want is, I am the boss of me and I am the one who decides what he means now, so that I can change my own experience of it. So I'm not at the mercy of this, this other person. Does that help?
Yeah. I think it's just like all the time. It was like the physical abuse. And then like the verbal speeches as a child, even of like
that's right.
The immense pressure that he was used to put, like an unreasonable pressure as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So absolutely all of that. So in the first instance, taking that control of your position now and going, I am going to decide what he means now. And then of course, absolutely changing any references that are still there of the speeches and the pressure and any kind of abuse. So making sure you're catching any bits that you've missed, that, that you hadn't thought of before or that you didn't think were relevant, that kind of thing. Change everything so that it's the complete opposite. And you may well need another due justice for him.
Okay.
All right. So see if you can change what you've got there for him, the speeches. So you want to replace the speeches with motivational speeches, or he's telling you funny things, or he's singing, or Something that makes you laugh or makes you feel lifted. Okay. So that's what you want to end up with. So every time he did a speech, it was that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So that's that.
Yeah.
And if you find you can't do that, then do a due justice to him. See if that clears that book.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, do that, then establish the good memories. And a big piece here, pre-pave every time you're going to see him. So you're going to walk into a room and he's going to be there. Get yourself into that feel-good state first before you walk in. And plan so that he's going to say something, and you decide, okay, so when he says something, this is how I'm going to feel apart from what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Right. So decide on how you're going to feel, and then what you say will come automatically from that.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to switch video off because I think it might help with the lagging.
Yes, that's fine, of course.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
That's
so I'll do that. Yeah.
All right.
That all makes sense. One thing I was she needed specifically more help with. So it was one of the instances of physical abuse. It was I just need help changing that one bit of it was almost like a neck grab. I don't know what to change that to.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's do, can you imagine it being a hug instead?
Yeah, but I can kind of see both.
Okay. And when you say neck grab, was the back of the neck or the front?
The back.
Okay, the back. So you can see both, you say?
Yeah, so I can see the hug and the original.
Okay. Are you seeing third person? Are you seeing what you saw at the time?
Yeah, I think I'm in first person, which is why it's extra strong.
Okay, so you're first person?
Yes.
Did you say? Okay, so pull back to third person if you can. What would it have looked like from the back if you were standing behind him?
It still looks the same.
Okay. What was the worst thing about that experience?
Just the intensity of it.
And the intensity of the physical feeling or his voice, or what was the intensity?
I think he was just very intensely emotional. Yeah.
Okay. Let's try a stepping stone there where you were about to walk out in front of a car and he grabbed you to save you. And his intensity was he was scared you were going to get run over. Would that work?
Yeah, that works.
Good.
Yes.
Very good. So practice that until it feels established, and then change it to the hug.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, that sounds good.
Good job. Very good, Swasti. So how do you feel now, sweetheart?
Yes, I feel good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Good job, you. I'm so proud of you.
Sorry about the lagging. Thank you. Thank you.
That's all right. No problem. All right. So thank you, everybody who asked questions and for today. And we will see you same place, same time next week. Lots of love to all of you. Bye now.